waliwo eyabimpadde bibuuza.
This team is beyond the family and it's beyond money. I think during this time, we've seen all that. We've seen the 100 million in transactions. So 100 million is one. It's not one. It's it.
Producer Ronnie awakana bwe kiri alimaki. Okay, I don't know. Let me start with you, Mr. Mukasa. What's the story for you with Talk and Talk?
For me, this is a story about being consistent. The story of Talk and Talk is about resilience, persistence. When we started a long time, I was one of the first people that started on Talk and Talk. And in terms of the power and nakasera, when the kunyumiza abamu tubayitako buyisi. Emanyi okubala bali ne mbayitako buyisi ne ngasa.
Temutababuuza.
Ate nkubuuzaako ki?
Ati wasuza otya?
Ate gusula bibyo nange nsula ebyange wali omukuba. So a lot of people have dropped off. Abaali batulemesa. Olokyali wange twatandika naye omulabi Moody's Cloud Muhikirwa. Oyo Muhi twabeeranga naye era abaali batukuba batukubanga wamu. At one time twali tugamba batukuleke. Naye ne tulemerako. Cloud yagenda mu bintu ebirala. Olabye n'olubuto lugezze. The man is doing well. So nothing is scary, etambuze ekintu, and I'm happy to see you, Cloud, after a very long time. Yes.
Of course, kyo tetusobola kugiba scriptingira. Kampite Kasuku kukuwaza banga semanengene etc n'ebirala byeweeyita tutandike take it away. It's the Talk and Talk show with a live audience.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joel. Nze naawe ffe tusinga okwogera katitanyo beneetuuka ng'otandikira awo. My name is Katende Isaac Daniel. So most of you know me as Kasuku Kukuwazabanga Semanengene. Today there are just only two people. Okay, let me begin from there. There are two people that have been with longer than all of you in the audience here. And that is my brother, Brian. That one, that's my brother from So from the word go, I've seen him live. Then the other person is Ronnie. Yes, that is my cousin. The kitchen cabinet. Namusturanga baby bat. So those are the two people I've known longest here. Now,
Ron is the producer of Kasukulite.
Yes, the producer at Kasukulite. I'm making it over there. It's a family thing. So from there are two other people. One is Stanley Ndaula Ndugu. And the other is Claude Muhigirwa. That one. So those two people, when I was starting out media, with all the people here, they are the first two people who saw me. With the audience here, but there are others that, of course, have not been able to walk them through the journey. But I was at Red Paper when Stanley was there, and Claude was the boss at 3 a.m. Yes, so those were the days. Now, I just want to take you guys through the story of Talk and Talk show. Then my friends will interject. Why do I say I? Because there are two people who bore the dream, and the one most of you know is me. So it was around 2011. I was working at Stat TV. I remember. So those days, there is a friend of mine. She's not here yet, but I invited her anyway. No, most people think things happen at night. So can we go because because we also have to happen at night. So that's what's up. So I hosted a friend of mine who happened to be a friend of Joel. That's the story I get. And Joel saw me on TV, a young guy, and say, those days we used to go hard, and on Monday morning you get a call. There is a musician who reported you, and you're like, ah. But remember, we are working there, and we are not getting paid. So I remember we used to have meetings on Wednesday. So Prosper tells me, hey, Kasuko, there is a guy looking for you. I'm like, who? Tells me it's called Joel Isabi. I'm like, why could be? I had heard of Joel with those days I used to be with Ndaus. So he had tried to bring Ndaus from Radio Simba to Dembe FM when he was leaving Beat FM. Unfortunately, every time I would Simanyo Ndaus Yaitayagala and Joel, because he would tell me the guy is going to be here at 6. So at 6 I'm there and he tells me, Yakavawo for like 4 times. So when I heard he was looking for me, I was like, So then he tells me, so I go to his office. That was June. I think the first week of June. No. Yeah, the first week. He tells me, I want you to do gossip segment in the morning and in the evening. I think that we started on 12th June, right? Friday. Yeah. My radio journey began on the 12th of June, 2011. Nanzia nentulamu wali neno wansi evening show yalina Orlando, Mayende ne Desire Luzinda. Then the morning show had Straka, Wilbur, Dembe Herbert, and Messi, I think. Yeah, that was the morning show. So I think like 2 weeks later, Freddie, when did talk show start? 2 weeks later. Must have been the second last Saturday of May, of June, that year. So on Tuesday, Joel calls me to his office. He says, there's something I'm thinking of. I'm like, hey, tell me. He tells me, everybody is talking politics. Most of you who are watching and those who are listening may not know. If you say ebyobufuzi byali bibuutukidde nnyo nga zimambo bado zikyali z'amaanyi nnyo kati naŋŋamba naye buli omu ayogera byabufuzi njagala tukoleyo ekintu nga tugenda kwogera ku entertainment. Abayimbi bakola ki, abalala bentyo. Ne mugamba kale kati naŋŋamba njagala tukole pano. Ne mugamba n'asooka n'asuggestinga John Segawa. Bwe yamala osuggestinga John Segawa n'asuggestinga Ronald Mayinja ku pano eyo. Ne tubakubira essimu nga tebasalawo. Biseera ebyo Mayinja yali akyali active mu kuyimba. John Segawa yalina Red Night Pub awo, ndowooza n'atyamu. Naŋŋamba nina omuntu gwe njagala bamuyita Jenkins Mukasa. Up to today, I don't know where Jenkins and Joel met. But then I told him, but Jenkins Mbera naye wali ku National Theatre. Those days, the National Theatre was the issue. You would find there musicians, celebrities like there. Then he said another person is Claude Muhigirwa. Up to today, in my mind of minds, I don't know how Joel and Claude know each other. Then the other person he suggested was Jody Erusa. and he said, this is the team I want you to begin with. And I'm glad to say all those people are here today. The first team that started Talk and Talk Show. I want to ask Claude and Julie Erusa to come in front. Abantu babalabeko. So this is Julie Erusa and this is Claude Muhigirwa. So this man Claude was my boss at Red Pepper. He was the guy who used to do 3 a.m. And Julie, most YouTubers never know, she was one of the, actually, she had the first YouTube channel that used to talk about Ugandan music in Uganda. By that time, that channel was there. It was called Music Uganda. I don't know if it's still there. Does it still operate? Not anymore. Yeah? So she's now working with Talent Africa and she's doing a good job. Last year, she gave me some gigs and I said, finally, my OG has remembered me. So you can just say hi to the people. Yeah, just simple hi.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm sorry, I'm not a microphone person. Pleased to see you and pleasure to see you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Claude Muhigirwa. Of course, like he has told you, we met in Namave at Red Pepper. I was the origin. Actually, I was number 2 of the people who did gossip 3 a.m. First was Dennis Savieti, then me. That's when I met this man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. So the original Talk and Talk show, we had problems. The show used to begin at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now we had an issue. Claude at that time, Avera Yasuza Yeyo. Is the only man I've worked with who comes to work when the eyes are red, but he can articulate issues. Then Julie Erusa used to be our darling, and as the fire got hotter, she was a man is a sijja bisobola abayimbi bankubira mmwe bannange. Then she left around that time. She left. So then along the way, I think Claude yaita kyasobola byakkeera bulungi, and then Joel left. So ebintu ne bibeera awo bwe bityo. So ne nsigalawo ne Jenkins. Ne tutandika, there was a transition eyasooka Joel ng'agenze. Twalina Straka yajja ne tukola naye. Ne Wilba. Ne Messe naye yakolako kona faawo. I think after Joel left after a year. And we experienced our first major hurdle as Talk and Talk show. Obuyinza babukwasamu Bina Baby ne Wilba nga tebatwagalawo. Changes had to ring. And we were almost shown the exit. So as they pulled the strings, we also pulled the strings. And that is how the show survived. Then along the way, we got to a point where Talk and Talk show, only me and Jenkins could come. Me and Jenkins. So we started bringing on board the panelists, and that's when we got Badru. At the time he was working with East Africa Radio. I think he had just left East Africa Radio. Wali okyaliyo? Ne tumuleeta n'atwegattako n'agamba ekintu kitambuze. Then ne tukyaza ne Sendi. Ne twamukyaza ogwasooka ng'atandika. ne tugamba sendi tetusobola mutta ne baaba ayagala nnyo. So okuva olwo noza wajja tuli mu mwaka gwakubiri gwakusatu gwakubiri ekyo ne tukitambuza paka olunaku olwaleero.
Can I just interject a little bit? I'm forced to tell this story because maybe a lot of people haven't heard me tell the story. How I came to naye musajja ali mu byuma, either you are doing a very good job or a very shitty job. The feedback is too much every minute. What is the positions of microphone in our way to and one strange thing is Paulo Cafero is being talked about a lot, and we've done a show talking about him today. But what got me to talk and talk show was the death of Paulo Cafero. I vividly remember, I don't remember the date, but I remember the space, the place. I was driving from home on a Saturday, and the guys were talking about Paulo Cafero. They gave some information which was wrong. So I called in. I don't remember how I got the number, but by then, you could call in. Talk and talk show yalinanga system ng'abantu bakuba abawuliriza. So bwe nkuba ne bakwata essimu. Ne ntematema Paulo Cafero bannyonnyola ye yali ani, yali abeera atya, music we, ekibiina kye, bakyala be. And then nga bwoga nti njogedde kiwedde ne mbabuuza nyongere, Kasuku n'aŋŋamba nyongere otuweebwino ne nyongere. After the phone call, I get a call nti ngende ku panel as a guest the following week. Then the week eyaddako ne bampita, and the rest is history. I have never applied for a job at Dembe FM, but I got a contract after some time, I can't remember when. And for the first, I think, 2 or 3 months, I was actually working pro bono. But I was doing something I was enjoying, talking about music, talking about art, talking about drama, and stuff like that. I just wanted to add in that bit so people can understand how I came into the picture.
Okay. Throughout our time on radio, we had one producer. The producer enjoyed the show more than
Mandarin,
he enjoyed the show more than
so you want to
the listeners.
Mandarin.
And sometimes they would ask him, because the show was very bloody, so they would ask him, producer, kati kyekyabaddewo Freddy, abasajja bayogedde. And I think Joe at one point felt, let me bypass this man. If I want to talk to these people, let me talk to them directly. So, ladies and gentlemen, our very first producer and the only producer we had at the Talk and Talk show, Mr. Freddy Kakembo. That man there. Mutyaba nkwatira Freddy Kakembo oyo. Yoyo mwami oyo gw'olabaawo. Yes, thank you. And we've been with him all through these years. Up to date, he's our guy. Akanyama akagala nnyo, era for him, if you want to have a good discussion with him, mubeemu akanyama. Kali aka Mr. Kaziro kasinga okwagala. So, as we continue on the journey, I just want to invite the man where all of this started, the vision bearer, the man who gave me the chance to be in your faces. If it wasn't for him, Maybe I'll be an ordinary guy sitting back, enjoying the guys seated here. And the guy who gave Talk and Talk Show the dream that you see today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joel. No. Wait. Ladies and gentlemen, Doctor, a man with 2 PhDs. Doctor, Professor Joel Isabidie. I am lost for words, but I will start by saying, Talk and Talk Show, I am here to congratulate you, to celebrate with you a story of consistency, a story of sustainability through changes in the media landscape. When we were having lunch, I told Kasuku that they started the show before WhatsApp. There was no WhatsApp. They started the show before Facebook became a big thing. YouTube became a big thing. They started the show before TikTok became anything. But they've transitioned through radio, TV, YouTube, WhatsApp, TikTok to be with us here today. Can we clap for them? They have seen the creative industry change. I also told Kasuku whether he remembered an artist called Hajat Madina. There was a very big artist. At the time they were starting. Many artists have come. Many artists have gone. So, to the fact that you have been able to survive and stay together, I want to thank you for that. I talk and talk a lot. Sometimes I think they think I'm not watching or listening. Then I will send an occasional message, or what is the latest? Okay? So I think they are close friends, and that's how shows are supposed to be. I don't think they have ego plays. It looks like everyone does not try to be above the other, from what I can see. And that mutual respect is what makes shows gel, remain cohesive, or remain together. Now, before I tell a brief story about Talk and Talk, let me first give them this. There's something I made for them. Can we open it? I am happy that the Juggernaut, who also is someone I tell a story about, is the one opening the whatever I made for Talk and Talk. As it does so, let me say that the name Talk and Talk, we extracted it from Radio and Weasel's Talk and Talk, because at the time, it was a very big song. So we said, if we're going to do a talk show, non-stop talking, then this would sound interesting and catchy for audiences. So that's how the name Talk and Talk came about. Now, a few days ago, you can open it. So a few days ago, I made a poster message congratulating you for 15 years of existence, and I decided to transform it into something that perhaps you can keep either at home or in your studio, and here it is. There are two versions. Okay. So this is how it looks. So
As senior legend Jenkins sits and watches us, I will read what is there. So, talk and talk show at 15. There's a slight. So basically, at the top we have talk and talk show at 15. And then we have the men themselves. We have Jenkins, Bat, Kesuku, and Eddie. So the message is simple. Dr. Joel Isabire congratulates Kasuko and Talk Show on the 15th anniversary of the show. You have been the greatest and the most consequential radio show to have emerged in Uganda in the last 15 years. Thank you for your contribution to the media landscape and for redefining the boundaries of commercial radio shows. I wish you the best of the next 15 years. Congratulations. So, essentially, you are free to take your seats again. To consultancy. Because when I was at Capital, I was getting requests from other stations to do work for them. However, the contracts that we had would not allow us to do so. So I made a choice to move into consultancy to serve stations, either short-term or long-term. So my first point after Capital was Dembe FM. And I remember Mr. Bitature telling me, I want to sell off this radio. If you can help me fix it in these months, I will be very happy. So I did a research and I looked at the demographic patterns. When we did BEAT, the structure of the population had quite a number of people middle age. That's why BEAT was targeting 30 to 40-year-olds and a bit of 25 to 30. That's why band music, Kadorokama and the rest were played a lot, and content such as Baloa were introduced and so on because they suited that particular audience. By the time I went to consult for Dembe, the young population had grown exponentially. At that time, it was 61%. And I realized all this political content would not work for the station. If we gave it occasionally as news, perhaps. But to have a station driven on current affairs, it just would not work. So that discussion within myself got me to think about putting some content that would appeal to that audience. Now, how do I get to see Kasuku? After programming Dembe FM and setting up everything, my instinct told me that there was still something lacking. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I could feel that the station was missing something. So one evening, and this is the true story, Kasuku, I had a maid called Barbara. She was watching you on TV in the evening of Sunday. And I came back from the station to pick something to go back. And I heard you actually talking about Ndaus. On your show, you used to talk a lot about Ndaus and something like that. So I stood at the door for about 3 minutes. Instantly, I knew that this is what Dembe FM was lacking. So that is how I got to know about your talent, your attitude, Because for me, you really had attitude, you could talk confidently, and you had an opinion. Those are characteristics we look for in presenters who we think will break through. Now, I had a friend or someone who were working with called Christine Tina, who was also doubling at Star. She was the first person I asked for the number. Then she said, I don't have it, but Prosipatra might have it. So Tina now calls Prosipatra, Prosipatra calls Kasuku, and then that very day Kasuku comes over and we have a discussion. So he starts off in the morning show and evening show, and his segment was an instant hit. And then we decided, okay, since we have all these political shows, the future of radio really will be lifestyle and entertainment. Let us move in this direction. And then, so that's how Talk and Talk was born. Now, I always say this to everyone, that however good you are as a radio manager or as a media manager or as a content manager, your success is as good as the people who you work with. So, for instance, I have had 6 number 1 radio stations that I have handled in Uganda. But I don't